Time can be quite playful, can't it? When you were strong enough to face the world, they disappeared. The person who should have been with you. Where both of you should have been facing each pain together, experiencing each sorrow together, and fighting every challenge of society together. Indeed, time is truly playful. The courage they taught you and that you learned was supposed to be your strength, but it had its limits. The love and joy that you both felt and wanted to shout to the world were suddenly brought to an end. I am Lucas, and this is my story. In truth, I don't have the courage to show my true self to anyone, so I chose to live behind a mask. Since high school, I have trained myself to be alone. Although my heart longed for social interaction, my mind insisted on avoiding it. I kept myself away from everyone around me, and I carried this habit into college. Nothing had changed. I was still the same, alone, afraid of the world. Sometimes I ask myself, am I cursed? With so many people in the world, why did this happen to me? With all the sentiments I have in life, it seems that fate has grown tired of me. Until Alex's path crossed with mine. He became my classmate in a minor subject. Alex's presence was like a burst of sunlight in my shadowed world. His kindness and intelligence were undeniable, but it was his boundless enthusiasm that began to chip away at my protective layers. He would often reach out to me, drawing me into conversations, encouraging me to join group activities, and even inviting me to social events I would have otherwise avoided. At first, I resisted. I was comfortable in my cocoon of solitude, but Alex had a way of making me see the world differently. His excitement about even the smallest things was contagious. He taught me how to approach life with a mix of courage and curiosity. Little by little, he helped me find the strength to confront my fears and step outside of my comfort zone. One day, as we were preparing for a group project in the campus library, Alex suggested we take a break and grab coffee. Reluctantly, I agreed. As we walked to the cafe, I noticed how effortlessly Alex interacted with people around us, his smile lighting up the room. At the cafe, over steaming cups of coffee, Alex opened up about his childhood. He spoke of his family, his struggles with fitting in, and the dreams he had for the future. I listened, captivated by his openness and honesty. It was during this conversation that Alex revealed something that startled me. You know, Lucas, I've always felt like an outsider too. Even though I'm sociable and friendly, I have my own battles. I've been dealing with some personal issues lately, family troubles, financial stress. But talking with you has been a reprieve from that. I was taken aback by his confession. Alex had always appeared so confident and untroubled. To hear that he had struggles of his own made me realize that even those who seemed invulnerable had their own battles. This was the first time I truly saw Alex's vulnerability. It struck a chord with me. For the first time, I didn't feel entirely alone in my struggles. Here was someone who understood the weight of feeling like an outsider, despite their outward appearance. Our bond grew stronger after that day. We began spending more time together, not just in the library or at social events, but in our daily lives. We'd meet for coffee, take long walks, and have deep conversations about our fears, hopes, and dreams. One evening, as we sat on a bench overlooking the campus, Alex shared his own struggles with me. Despite his cheerful demeanor, he had faced hardships of his own. But instead of letting them get to him, he used them as fuel to become even more resilient. His openness inspired me. I began to share parts of myself with him, something I had never done before. As the months passed, our bond deepened. We laughed together, supported each other, and slowly built something profound. The feelings I had for Alex grew beyond friendship. I found myself falling for him, and to my relief, he felt the same way. We embraced our mutual feelings with a mixture of joy and nervousness, but with a newfound confidence that we had both developed. We dreamed of a future where we could face the world together, unafraid and united. I planned to finally unmask my true self, to step into the world as the person I had always hidden away. Alex was my guiding light, pushing me to be brave, to be real. Then, one fateful afternoon, something unusual happened. Alex had been quiet and distant for a few days, and I noticed a strange unease in him. When I asked if everything was all right, he brushed it off with a forced smile. "Just tired," he said. "You know how it is." But something didn't sit right with me. I decided to follow him one day, just to see if everything was truly okay. It was an unsettling feeling, but I wanted to be sure that Alex was safe. To my surprise, I found Alex in a secluded part of town, meeting with a man I didn't recognize. They exchanged a brief but intense conversation. Alex handed over something, a small envelope, and the man left hurriedly. I was confused and worried. Why was Alex involved in something like this? I wanted to confront him, but I held back, fearing I might intrude on something private. The next day, as Alex and I met for our usual coffee, I couldn't shake the image of the secretive exchange from my mind. I decided to address it gently. "Alex, I saw you with someone the other day. I'm not trying to pry, but I'm worried about you. Is everything all right?" Alex's face went pale. For a moment he seemed on the verge of saying something, but then just shook his head. "It's nothing, Lucas. Don't worry about it. Let's just focus on us." I wanted to press further, but his tone was final. I let it go, hoping that Alex was right, and that it was indeed nothing to worry about. But then, time played its cruel trick. One rainy afternoon, as Alex was driving home from a study group, his car hydroplaned on a slick, flooded road. The vehicle skidded out of control and crashed into a tree. The accident was sudden and brutal. I remember feeling as though the ground had been ripped from beneath me. The person who had taught me to be brave, who had helped me open up, was gone. His absence left a chasm in my life that I struggled to fill. The days that followed were a blur of grief and disbelief. I found myself grappling with the reality of his loss, and the courage he had instilled in me felt as though it was slipping away. In the midst of my sorrow, I began to piece together the details of the accident and remembered the strange meeting I had witnessed. My mind raced with unsettling thoughts. I discovered that Alex had recently expressed concerns about the safety of his car, concerns he had shared with me in passing. Driven by a mix of sorrow and curiosity, I began investigating further. My search led me to a startling revelation. Alex's car had been tampered with. It was not merely a tragic accident, but a deliberate act. The revelation shook me to my core. I realized that someone had wanted to remove Alex from my life, and it wasn't just a cruel twist of fate. The realization that his death was not a random event, but a result of someone's malevolent actions left me devastated and furious. I wanted answers, but the more I uncovered, the more dangerous it became. I couldn't understand who would want to harm Alex or why, but I knew that Alex had left me a profound gift, a legacy of strength and bravery. Though his death had been manipulated by unseen hands, he had shown me how to live authentically and with courage. Even though he was no longer there, I decided to honor his memory by facing the world he had encouraged me to confront. I began to unmask my true self, as I had planned. And though the journey was fraught with pain and challenge, I carried Alex's spirit with me. He had taught me to live with authenticity, and in doing so, he had given me a legacy of courage. In the end, Alex's influence remained a guiding beacon, leading me through the darkness of loss, and helping me navigate a world that, though sometimes harsh, was also filled with possibilities for connection and growth. I vowed to live the life he had shown me how to embrace, to face each day with the same bravery and hope he had always embodied.